Hey guys, Miss Sewing here with a review of Reaganomics. Reaganomics refers to President Ronald Reagan's economic policy, which means it's going to be all about money. Now, you might see Reaganomics referred to as trickle-down economics. They refer to the exact same policy. And the main idea behind Reaganomics was to cut the taxes of people who made quite a lot of money, tax cuts for the wealthy. The thinking was if you cut the taxes of the wealthy, that money will then trickle down to everyone else. Another part of the Reaganomics policy was to deregulate business, basically reduce the amount of government control that was holding businesses back from making as much money as possible. So here's what Reaganomics looks like. You cut the taxes of the wealthiest Americans, and they make a lot more money, and they keep that money. So their glass is full of water here. And the idea is if they make more money, the cup cannot hold the water any longer and it spills over, right? Filling up the next level of cups here, like the middle class, right? That money still's continuing to pour into the top cup. It overflows and eventually that water, that money makes its way down to the lower classes or the lower income families in America. So that was the idea or the intent behind Reaganomics, but let's take a look at what a lot of people argue happened instead. This political cartoon tells us a different story about the effects of Reaganomics. First off, we have our main figure here. This is Reagan, President Reagan. He's pouring some water into the fountain, and you notice this fountain looks different than the one we previously looked at. The top of the fountain is actually the largest part, and that is of the rich. This water, remember, is representing money, and so these tax cuts, in reality, they're being poured into the rich. They're being poured into the wealthiest families, and the water isn't trickling down, right? The water is just staying here. It's being collected on the top tier because of how large the fountain is. And you see the second tier here is being represented by the middle class. And here's this little frog with his bowl trying to catch the one droplet that has fallen from the fountain. And of course, who's suffering the most? Well, you have the poor here at the bottom, the smallest tier with the smallest droplet of water that is being attempted to be caught by the little frog on the bottom of the fountain. So what can we conclude about Reaganomics? Well, the intent of the policy was for all that wealth from those tax cuts to trickle down to everybody else. But, as we can see from the cartoon we just analyzed here, that didn't quite happen. The wealthy Americans kept a lot of their money, and it didn't quite reach the people at the lower and middle class.